Hey guys, it's Meera and Min again, hitting at you on Woke and Pretty. Welcome.
Yeah.
Min,
Yeah.
I have a question. I know I'm so serious.
You're so serious right now. All right.
I know.
What's your question?
It's a real question. If you won the lottery, what would your day-to-day look like in 5 years? The reason I wanted to be serious about it is because we talked about winning the lottery before. And you're like, I'd still work. And screw that. Here we are in December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whatever, beginning of December. I don't even know the date today. And if you won the lottery 5 years from now, so that's 2023, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in 2028, what would you be doing?
Win the lottery like tomorrow. Why are you doing it? Why 5 years from now?
I'm just asking how your life would have changed. I don't think you'd be sitting here doing this podcast with me. I'll tell you that.
I think I would be.
I think I'd be too busy.
You'd be too busy to do this with me? I don't think so.
No, I think we would probably take, or I would probably take, if it was me, I would probably take some of those bajillions of dollars and create my own podcast editing network, media network, so I can distribute podcasts myself, just Stitcher and all those other ones we're doing. And I would basically spend time recording. But I don't know if I'd be talking, we may be talking about this stuff, but I may be talking about it in like a more prettier studio, or maybe on a yacht with you, or maybe
like the idea of
fancy locations. Maybe we'd be taping ourselves on fancy locations doing it. I don't know if we were doing it.
One, I still think we'd be doing it. Definitely, if you were asking me this 20 years ago, like how much my life would change, it would change drastically. At this point in my life, I don't know if I would change that much. I love what I do on a day-to-day.
I do too, but if you
would
have
just
like
expand it much,
if you had $500 million sitting there, and then you have
we're talking like Jeff Bezos money,
half a $1 billion. Actually,
yeah.
You're not going to be sitting in your apartment, girl.
No, God, no. First of all, I'd be sitting in a nice home that's got. Okay, so one of the dreams that I have, and I tweeted this a while ago. I actually didn't tweet it because I don't have Twitter, because I don't really like Twitter.
But you put it out there.
But I put it out there. You can follow me at admin avenger. I put it on Threads, and I wrote, "Dear future husband, I just want to put this on your radar. I need a library that rivals Bell's and a podcasting studio that looks like the coffee shop from Friends. No biggie. Just the content creator special. Love, Min."
I love the library thing, because the end of Beast is like my favorite. I love that library. That's because we're bookies.
Yes. So if I won the lottery, I would love a recording studio that literally looks like a coffee shop. Because if you listen to my podcast, it's called Share a Latte. It's literally about two girlfriends catching up at a coffee shop. Something I'd love to do in my pastime. Something I do often on our podcast is drink coffee. So yes, I would love a podcasting studio that looks like a coffee shop.
I would love a podcasting studio space also. But I would have people that booked my guests or my friends and would schedule me, and I would tape everything all within a few days and have them edit and put it out, because I'm fancy like that, and I'd be all over it.
No, you already have somebody who edits it for you.
I know, but I'm just saying, on a media network, like edit it, put it out, like distribution, whatever.
Yeah.
Do all the things where I can just be me. And like I want to be Jay Shetty, but like prettier. I'm proud of him as a brown person. Yes.
Well, we're talking about podcasts, and the Spotify podcast like wrapped up. So one, is there a guest, or do you have a list of guests that you would love to have either on this podcast or on your personal podcast?
God. With the Brown Girl Trending podcast, man, I've done an evolution there where it started to be it started to be about my experiences as a brown girl working in corporate. And I interviewed a lot of women that were still in corporate or had just exited, and their experiences. And based on the topics that we talked about, it would be about confidence, statistics on certain things, et cetera, et cetera. And then it went to a point where it was just talking about people peddling what they were selling, which I didn't love. It wasn't what the purpose of the podcast was. So because of you, I took it back and I started focusing on what mattered to me, which was empowering people with knowledge. So I started focusing on people becoming their better selves based on what I know as a person and my research. And I would love to have guests again, but I think I wouldn't make it a point to be guests all the time. It would be very curated guests. If I could have anybody on my podcast, it would be somebody like a Viola Davis who struggled, who came from all of these things, had so much stuff to overcome. And she waited until her midlife to really pursue this passion, which is acting for her, and become successful at it and do it in such a profound, powerful way where her voice matters. I love a story like that. Mm-hmm. I need to read her book.
I know, I'm excited to read her book. I think I might actually do an audiobook with that one.
I feel like it would be so amazing. I just feel like everything I've ever seen with her has just been so perfect. She's just such a great actress, and I really feel like she feels it. And I feel like she's authentic. And I like that about people. I like authenticity. Mm-hmm. So someone like her would be amazing, especially to uplift the brown and Black girls out there. I love that. For Woke and Pretty, I would love to have somebody like a Nina Parker, who, if you guys don't know who she is, she used to be on TMZ back in the day, making her fun commentary. Then she started basically doing what we're doing, Min, but it's a show. It was a show. They canceled it, but it was on E! Entertainment News. And it was like a nighttime gossip show. And her and Morgan Stewart and Hunter, whatever his last name is, they just had a good rapport. And they would just talk about celebrity stuff and joke around, and it would be comedic and it would be fun. And Nina Parker added she was just such a good personality for that. She now has a design line at Macy's for plus size. She's hosting a show on Netflix. I can't remember the name, but girl's getting there. She's getting there. She's doing her career. But I think a perspective like hers, where she's young, she's fun. She came up from doing TMZ and working in the cubicles, and she became a show host. I think that's pretty cool. And I think she doesn't know a lot of celebrities, but she knows enough, and she's been in that world, that her perspective would help us, especially with like personal life and our Am I the A-hole? I think she wouldn't hold back. Ooh, and Lonnie Love. Do you know Lonnie Love?
Yeah, I know Lonnie Love. Yeah.
God, I love that woman, and when she just says it.
Yeah.
She's old school, but I love it. So I would love to have her on here. I would probably die at her commentary. Oh, I wonder if she has a podcast. I got to look that up.
Oh, that's a good question.
She should if she doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some love, Lonnie Love. I don't know. Who would you have?
For this one? Oof. Oh.
Or share a latte.
Yeah, I have so for mine, I would love to have Jana Marie. If you are listening, girl, I'm obsessed with your podcast. I would take you on Charlotte Latte like in a heartbeat. I love you. For sure. I am fangirling over her super hard. Jane Fonda.
Really?
Oh my gosh. She's had a couple already, and she's so eloquent. There's just something about her. And I love that she's just owning where she's at in her life right now. For sure. Jane Fonda.
Like, oh, wow.
And on this one too. I love Jane Fonda on this one.
Did you ever see her on Netflix, Frankie and Johnny, or whatever it's called?
Yes.
So funny.
Grace and Frankie, it's so good.
Grace and Frankie. I had to stop watching it because every time my husband would walk by, he would make a comment about Jane Fonda, because I guess he doesn't like her from the 70s when she was protesting the war or some shit like that. And I was like, oh, you weren't there. But for some reason, he feels like she betrayed her country. I don't know what it is. I don't care to listen to him. So I just stopped watching it for my sanity, but I have to watch it because it's so funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have nothing against her. Go ahead, Jane Fonda, with your bad self.
Yeah. Agreed. I love Jane Fonda. Elise Myers. I love her. And her podcast is so funny.
So you want podcast hosts?
Yeah. I think I'm a little more dove into this world.
Would you ever have Matt Rife come onto your podcast?
God, no.
Really? No. You don't want to ask him some questions?
No. Also, he'd ruin the vibe of my podcast. I'm already toying with the idea of potentially having a male on my podcast, which is already irking me a little bit because it's not really the realm that I want to tap into. But there is something to be said about, and this may come out in February if I decide to bring one on, there is something to be said about a man's perspective, especially when you are in the dating world. Sometimes nice to get a guy's perspective on that kind of stuff, right? Talking to your girlfriends, really, it's nice to have your girlfriends, but really you need to sometimes go to the source. It might come out in an episode in February for me that I bring a man on.
Who do you fangirl over? If there was somebody that you ran into and it was just you and him or her, and you would literally drop your jaw and be like, oh my God, like you wouldn't know what to do with yourself if you ran in front of them or into them. Why am I not speaking properly today?
I mean, there's a couple. Trevor Noah would be one.
You would fangirl over Trevor Noah?
I think he's hilarious.
So would you be funny. Like, oh my God.
So funny.
I think you would fangirl over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce if you saw them. I think you would. I would drop yourself on the ground. You would drop on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Sandra Oh, Miss Sandra Oh. I love Sandra Oh, especially from the early days of like Grey's Anatomy. Sandra Oh, and even now I love Sandra Oh.
Wow,
I love Sandra Oh. I also love that she's Canadian and like her parents don't live or used to not live. I don't still do. I'm sure they've moved out of Ottawa by now, but they didn't live far from here.
Mm-hmm. But yet Ryan Gosling's not on your list and he wasn't that far from you, girl.
I know a different Ryan Gosling.
Anyways. Okay. I don't understand the Trevor Noah one. I don't understand the Sandra Oh. What was the first one you said besides Trevor Noah? I said it for you. I said Taylor and Travis.
Oh, Taylor and Travis. Yeah, for sure. I pass out though.
Okay, mine's weird. Because I've met a lot of celebrities in my lifetime because I work in media. So I've been to like events where they're at. I don't care about celebrities really. And also I'm in New York, so I really just don't care. They just are in my way causing a ruckus for no reason when paparazzi's there. But usually New Yorkers don't give a crap. But this poor unassuming man would never have anybody all over him. And I would literally cry. Bryan Adams. The Canadian rocker.
Really? I've gone to a couple of his concerts. He's really good in concert.
Okay. I have as well. I went to it twice this summer. And you didn't notice about me, did you? So much
better with age too, right? Like,
yes. I didn't know I was a fan. I think I told you this. I didn't know I was a fan until I was at a Billy Joel concert with someone who's a fan. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a fan. I just don't care. And he's old, so he can't hold the whole concert for himself. He does it every month in New York. And it was like coming to an end this year. But then he said, oh, I'm extending it. So basically he pays his alimony and his child support that way once a month. And so in this particular concert, this is like my third concert of Billy Joel that I had to go to. He brought out like 2 guest stars. He had like a backup singer sing a song. And I was like, you're getting tired, sir. Mm. One of the people was Bryan Adams. And I was like falling asleep. We had floor tickets. I'm like falling asleep because it's not my thing. And Bryan Adams came on. I was like, he was like, ladies and gentlemen, Bryan Adams. I was like, wait, excuse me, what?
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Got a whole new life. I was like, I could go for 3 hours with Bryan Adams. And that's how I realized. I was like, damn. And I decided if he had him there, he must have a concert. And he did. This was 2019. I was pregnant. I hauled myself all the way to bum F New Jersey in my 7 months pregnant self to watch this man at this outdoor arena concert. Outdoor. I mean, it was like frontish seat. I don't care. I don't do the general. I can't. I get claustrophobic, guys. I can't. I pay for my seat. There ain't no lawn seats for this girl. No. So anyway, and I was like in shock that how much I knew all the songs. I loved him. And there was one song that he started playing and I started crying. I literally started crying and I was like, why am I crying? Is it the hormones? Like, why am I crying? I've never cried like just from a song. And I realized when I moved to New York, Bryan Adams, I used to listen to him on my Walkman. I had taped some of his songs while I went to sleep because my sister was an a-hole and would turn the lights off at 10 o'clock. And if I was doing homework or whatever, she'd be like, I don't care. You should have done it earlier. She was a jerk. And I would literally play my Walkman and she would say, stop pressing play and rewind because I can hear it. It's bothering me. She was mean. But I would have Bryan Adams and I realized this one song must have brought back some kind of like nostalgia. I'll tell it to you later. But it was just like a very unexpected song. And I had to like think about why I felt that emotion. And then when like later that week, I listened to it again and I started feeling the feels again. And I was like, I must have felt really lonely when I came here and didn't realize it because I was 8. And I must have felt a certain way. And listening to this was like just triggering that time period for me. But yeah. And then that same summer, I was telling my gay friends that we were at the lake, at their lake house, of course. And I'm like, again, fully pregnant. I was like, I just saw Bryan Adams. You guys probably don't know who he is. And the guy whose house we're at, like, yeah, my husband worked with him on Pretty Woman, the soundtrack for Broadway. And I was like, excuse me? Yeah, he's good friends with him. Do you want to FaceTime him? Man, I almost shit my pants. I was like,
oh my gosh, way to fangirl super hard.
Oh, I was like, no, are you kidding?
Did you? Oh,
he was like, no, I'm serious. We'll FaceTime him. And I was like, you don't want a pregnant hot mess right now. It's not going to work out for you. It will be very embarrassing for you. I cannot face that phone. I cannot. I refuse. You cannot call him. They were like, you're joking, right? And I was like, no. I really was like, I can't handle it.
Oh my gosh.
I can't handle it. I was like, next time I come back, we'll do it maybe. Never went back. Never went back to that house.
I would have gone back.
But funny. Since then I've gone to, he was doing a tour in 2020 with Bon Jovi. And I was like, sure, I like Bon Jovi. I've been to his concert a few times. I'll go to that and I'll take my sister and I'll pay for her and her husband to go with me for their birthday. But of course, everything was shut down. And then I heard something on the radio about him. I was flipping through and I heard Bryan Adams tickets are available. And I was like, wait, what? And so I realized he was touring this year. So I went twice. Mm-hmm. I went to Florida and took my brother-in-law and my sister and a couple other people. And then I did it in New York. I forced my friends to go with me. Those poor souls. Poor guys. I'm sorry, but I was going to go alone. I was fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm not pregnant. It's Madison Square Garden. Who's going to bother me? But yeah, I got last minute tickets. So Bryan Adams, man, I fangirl. And he's so unassuming. And I just think I would fangirl only because I think it's just it was such a huge life change for me. And it was such a memory. Mm-hmm. Not because I think he's cute or anything like that. Like, I don't care about all that. His music is so good. Even his new stuff. He's just I have to say, he's just such a great writer.
He is. He's really good. He's really great artist.
Yeah. Sometimes I listen to the new stuff when in concert. I'm a very much of a lyrics person versus a sound. And I don't know, it really is beautiful.
It is.
Wow. We might have to cut out part of me gushing about Bryan Adams.
Who knew? The most random thing in the world. Adams so much. Interesting.
I just think he had a big part of my life and I didn't realize how big it was. I just think that's honestly, it was just like a comfort thing for me.
Fair.
Yeah. Also, funny enough, people in Trinidad listened to Bryan Adams when I was younger. People cared about rock. I grew up with my mom's siblings. They were teenagers. And so they all listened to 80s rock and things like that. Because in the 80s, when I was growing up, that's what they listened to. They were teenagers. Yeah.
Interesting.
I know. I'm so weird.
No.
That's my one person. I don't know if I would gush over anybody else.
No.
I don't think I would gush over Oprah. I don't think I would gush over, who are the typical people? Leo, Brad. I wouldn't gush over any of them. Ooh, Leo, maybe Brad, Michael B. Jordan. Maybe Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
God, how could you not?
I mean, I find him good looking. I just don't know.
I don't want to sleep with him or anything, but I'm just like, ooh, Michael B. Jordan. Ooh, it's just, again, it's nostalgia for me. It makes it even better for me. But Friday Night Lights, man, I remember you with whatever Smollett sister that was, Juliet, whatever.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, not Michael B. Jordan, but
I don't know if I'd fangirl over him, but I'd fangirl more than most people, most other celebrities.
I'm with you. I have a client who knows Neil Patrick Harris, she knows Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh,
and for 1 year on my birthday, I messaged her and I was like, listen, you don't need to get me anything for my birthday, but feel free to message Neil Patrick Harris to send me a video message saying happy birthday to me. That would be
you can pay for that. You can pay for that on Cameo.
That's true. No, I'm good. But yes, for me, it's a lot of lately. No, she just laughed at me because she thought it was funny. I was being serious. She thought it was funny. Tomato. But for me lately, it's just been because I've dove into like the podcasting world. So now for me, it's a lot of like podcasters. Mel Robinson is another one that I totally fangirl over.
Mel Robbins?
Yeah. Mel Robbins.
Okay. I don't know if I'd fangirl over her, but I would talk to her. But if you had to choose one person that you would have coffee with, dead or alive, who would the one person be?
My dad.
Yeah. Just to, yeah. I would, if we're going to people that we know, I would probably say my dad's mom, because for the longest time, I had such different idea or construct of what she was and what I remember of her and how she treated me versus my sister. And I just didn't think she liked me very much. And then I think I told you this, I saw a medium like a couple of years ago. And first of all, my grandfather, who I've never met in my entire life, her husband, was front and center. And so was she. And she's part of my life, apparently. And there were specific details where she was part of. And I was like, what? This is so weird. And then a year later, upon reflection, I was like, it's nice to know that somebody cares about you that you didn't expect, but also it's not like a negative thing. So I think I would have conversations with her. She came up in conversation with my sister and I recently because she spoke Hindi and she used to do all these interesting things. Like she used to sing, go to weddings and sing in Hindi back in the day. She was Indian. She was black. She was mixed. She was black and Indian. Actually, I don't know if she was. I don't know if she was, but she seemed it. I think she was mixed, but she embraced her Indianness so much back then. And she would watch Indian movies every Sunday when we're at her house, subtitled. And so to this day, I try to put Indian movies on Netflix for Axel, a little punk. And then sometimes I play Indian music, like old school ones, so he can hear it, so it could be familiar to him, but it's just not part of my world even. So it's hard to push something on someone when it's not even part of my world. But when I do that, I feel comforted.
Right.
And it's because of her.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. But if it was somebody that I didn't know, I think talking to someone like a Nelson Mandela, or like even like a Martin Luther King, I think their perspective about life and their sacrifice and their viewpoint would be so interesting and so simple to understand that I think I would just get so much out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I know those are like typical names, but like I struggle to think of anyone who can add a dimension when it comes to what they were fighting for is still so prevalent in today's world. And they gave their life for that. Like Nelson Mandela obviously died later on, but like he was in prison for all this time, and Martin Luther King obviously was assassinated, but I just feel like it would be so amazing to talk to men like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, we went from happy winning the lottery to, man, why you gotta die? Okay, so that was our episode today for Woken Pretty Guys. I hope you agree with us. And I know, don't come for me, okay? Because I know Bryan Adams is the most random and you probably don't even know him. Did you know when I said I want to go to a Bryan Adams concert to my friends, they said, who's Ryan Adams? And I was like, what? There is a Ryan Adams. There is a Ryan Adams. But it is not that person that I do not know. It is this old guy from Canada that we're going to pretend to love. Oh, look, his knees are great, though. He got better knees than me, okay? You only know if you go to the concert. But follow us on Woke Pretty Podcast and TikTok or on Instagram. And obviously, share our episode. Make sure you subscribe. We need you as a subscriber, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcast, because that's how you show your support to us. And we really need that, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're here every day for you guys, Monday to Friday. And we have jobs, guys. We got stuff to do, but we come here for you. Until tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Remember, you're the heartbeat of our podcast. Your support, your comments, and your enthusiasm keeps us fired up and ready to bring you more pop culture goodness each week. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment of action. We'd love to hear your thoughts, suggestions, and even your own pop culture discoveries.
Connect with us on social media at Woken Pretty Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.